Melissa taught me something new today. And that's what she does. She's a teacher, she's a fighter, and she's someone that we can count on. She's a changeful voice. She's a change of voice, I should say. And she's someone that we can count on. So without further ado, I want to introduce my friend, candidate for City Council at Large, Miss Melissa Robbins.
Guys, I gotta apologize. Tom walked in. I completely put him on the spot. He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yes, Tom." Tom, let me just tell you, in the city of Philadelphia, working in politics, it is very, very rare. And most of you in this room know this to be true. Ms. Cunningham, first of all, let me back up. Thank you. Ms. Paulette Cunningham, she's the executive director of the Southwest Senior Center. I met her in 2017 when I was working on the district attorney's race. And she was the most loving, most generous woman to myself and my candidate. And I said, when I do run for office, I'm going to make sure that I come and talk to her. And when I just came to talk to her, and in less than 10 minutes, we were like, oh, we're going to have a celebration here. And then we looked at each other and we were like, how did that happen? So thank you, Ms. Cunningham. Very well. Give her a hand. With Tom. Tom and I met on a hot summer day in a special election, and it was hot. And we were tasked with putting yet another elected in an open seat. Myself, Tom, and a friend, Dan Coleman, who's a fellow attorney, we got out in the hot sun. I'm talking 92, 93 degrees, and we knocked so many doors. We had one thing in mind, and that was a win. And each and every day, we were up early and in the bed late at night. And that's just one small part of us knowing each other. Tom is one of those people that you want to be in government. And like so many of you in the room, I have special relationships with you, not because it's transactional. It's because there's something in each and every one of you in this room right now that speaks to me, right? Everybody in this room has a characteristic, a story, an energy, a strength that feeds my spirit. And I'm an empath, right? So if you're having a great day, I'm having an even better day. If you're having a bad day, I'm having an even worse day. But this room is filled with good, clean energy. And it's people like you that inspire me every day. Look at this room. Everybody in this room is here because you believe that on May 21st, I should be the next city council person. Every single day of my life, I go to sleep thinking about what can I do. Every single day of my life, I wake up thinking, what do I need to do? There's not a day of my life that politics and government is not the center. Well, that started a long, long time ago. I was the kid that sat down and watched Schoolhouse Rock, and when I found out that a bill was just a bill on Capitol Hill, I was like, oh, I know this. I was 4 years old. I got this. And then there came the day when I was 6, and I remember sitting on the sofa beside my mom while she was gossiping with all her girlfriends. So I was sitting there looking at the television, and there was this man coming across the stage, and all these people were following him and flashing lights. So I was trying to figure out, who was he? It was President Jimmy Carter. And I said, I want to do what he does. It looked real important. And I started watching stories of triumph, stories of despair at 6. And my heroes, when I was in the first grade, were people like Leslie Stahl, Morley Safer, Harry Reasoner. Do you guys know who those people are?
60 Minutes.
Yeah, those are my heroes when I was a kid. So my seeds were planted long, long, long ago. I didn't know what this journey would look like. I just knew that it had something to do with a lot of other people. I used to have visions of me all the time, standing, talking, and then my mother would say publicly, she never shuts up. She talks all the time. So they started calling me Mighty Mouth, her and all her gossipy girlfriends. I didn't quite like that name, Mighty Mouth. I said, Mom, one of these days, this mouth is going to earn you some money, you know. She's like, yeah. So listen, guys. Me and this mouth of mine, I don't like to see people done wrong, right? I don't like injustices. And each and every day, like most of you, I have to get up. I have to see the homeless people lying on the sidewalk, no matter how hot and no matter how cold it is. What can I do? I'm rendered hopeless looking at grown men and grown women saturated in urine each and every day. And I feel like, what can I do? I know there's something that I can do, but at that moment, I'm rendered hopeless. When I see our men coming out of prison, right, with no jobs. If you go to 56 and Chestnut, there's a fresh grocer right there, right? Try to come out of the store. If you try to come out of the store, you're going to be met with no less than 6 men, as old as 50 and as young as 18, and they simply want to help you get your groceries to your car. That's the way that they get money. They deserve better. Our men and our women deserve jobs. They deserve dignity. They deserve respect. They deserve pathways to home ownership. We cannot reserve owning a home and having a vacation and a comfortable car and sending your child to a suitable school. That cannot be reserved to a certain class of people. It just can't. Call me naive, call me radical, call me whatever you want. But I personally will not stop until every man, woman, and child in the city of Philadelphia has access to opportunity, has access to upward mobility. Know what they choose to do with it, they're on their own. But they'll never ever be able to say, with me in office, there weren't policies in the book that benefited their families. They'll never be able to say, we didn't have access to trade. We didn't have access to state-of-the-art educational facilities. These are the things that I'm fighting for. People say, Melissa, it costs a lot of money. How are you going to do that? Well, if you know anything about Philadelphia, there's millions floating around. They're just going in the wrong direction. We have Harrisburg. Tom, you know that owns the purse. Harrisburg owns the parking authority. So all the on-street parking money goes where? Doesn't come to Philadelphia, and millions were earmarked for the school district. Never happened. So meanwhile, our kids go to schools that look like prisons, with metal detectors, with lead, with mold, with asbestos, with non-functioning water fountains, with non-functional bathrooms. All of these things our children are experiencing each and every day. Can somebody tell me how it's okay? And how can we just turn a blind eye? Why isn't anyone outraged? If I were Dr. Height and I were the school the superintendent, I would be outraged that these babies are in such conditions. What about a high school graduation rate? People say Philadelphia is the city of eds and meds. People come far and wide to come to Penn, to Drexel. What about our kids? What about kids born and raised in the city of Philadelphia? Will they ever get into St. Joe's, Drexel, Penn, Temple, LaSalle? No, our kids go to Millersville. Our kids go to Kutztown. Our kids go to IUP. Our kids have to go way out in the state to get an education when their homes are right here, but our kids can't get into our schools. There's something wrong about that. There's something really, really wrong about that. So as the next city council person, I will make education the priority, right? Education will be the priority. And when I say education, I mean pre-K through 12 and adult literacy. How many people do we have around us each and every day, right? Who cannot read, who have no understanding of financial literacy whatsoever, but they live in shame. How can a grown man in his 40s tell you I can't read? It's tough, but why should we make it tough for him? If people have come through the Philadelphia school district, a large percentage of them have been failed. So how can we have these false expectations of people who never got the tools for and the resources that they needed for success? How can we expect this from people when they were never properly prepared? That's crazy, right? So something has to change. We do have to make access to trades available. We had Bach in South Philly. Instead of it being a school, it's a place for entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. We have Dobbins. Our school has thousands of children who will never ever go to college and don't want to go to college, and they should not have to go to college. If they want to be a welder, an electrician, a mason, no matter what these kids want to be, let them. Instead of teaching them to work for someone else, why can't we give them the opportunity to be entrepreneurs at a young age and work for themselves? These are things that our children do not have access, and it really, really bothers me when I think about a child not having the opportunity to dream. I grew up in extreme poverty. I'm the youngest of 11, so the idea of having anything new was never, never a thought to me, right? I knew I would never have anything new, but I was okay with that, right? But at the same time, I went to beautiful schools, and I had teachers that never ever judged you, and believe it or not, I did. I went to a school that was extremely diverse. It looked like the United Nations, and I'm not exaggerating. There was a child from Japan, a child from Australia, a kid from Palestine, a kid from Japan, Mexico, Laos, Vietnam. Our school was extremely diverse, very diverse. But the one thing the teachers demanded of you: sit up straight, speak clearly, enunciate, do your work. You will not disrupt anyone, nor will you prohibit anyone from getting their education. We should demand that from our kids instead of taking money out of public education and then asking why are kids killing each other at 13, 14, and 15.
Hello.
What else would they do? What else would they do? Have you seen the food that they have to eat each day? I mean, this is real, right? There are a lot of other parties going on tonight, right? I'm thankful that you guys are here and you understand the fight that we're up against. This is not easy going against the establishment. It's not easy going against the system, but it's the right thing to do, and it's what I have to do. They know I'm not going to stop. All the money in the world can't outwork this girl. All the money in the world. I work from sun up to sundown because I want to make sure that people being displaced and put out of their homes, people who have no chance of owning a home, people have spent years paying rent, and all of a sudden your apartment building is being sold to a developer. A lot of people are hurting in the city of Philadelphia. They're in a lot of pain, and they suffer in silence, and they have pride, and they don't want to say, I lost my job. Right? I'm relying on my aunt or my cousin or someone to help me pay my bills. People have too much pride. They don't want to say, my kids are failing and they go to awful schools. People don't want you to know how bad they're doing. And I think I'm past the point of knowing so many people in pain, right? Our city is bleeding, it's hemorrhaging, and it has to stop. So I decided that I was going to run for city council at large because I wanted to make sure that people had access. When I think about city contracts in the city of Philadelphia, right? Why is it that people in Bucks County, Jenkintown, and Jersey come into Philly and get our city contracts and they go and sustain elsewhere? We need our money in our city. Our men and women need to have access to our contracts to build our city. We have infrastructure that's in ruins. If anybody that's in here that drove and has a car, I bet you're afraid of what you're going to go out there and see, right? Flat tire, broken axle. At any point in time, you could run into a hole so big it could scare the crap out of you, right? Where's our tax dollars going? What about all the trash? Riding down the street, you see a pile of tires, 17 trash bags, litter everywhere. This is our city. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the birthplace of the nation, the first American experiment, and it's an embarrassment to the nation right now. It's an embarrassment. We warehouse our seniors, we neglect our children, we devalue families, we use men and women as commodities. We'd rather invest money into prisons and not education. And then when we have these strange and extreme outcomes, people say, what's going on with these crazy kids? Well, what do you think? People are traumatized. People don't know how to express themselves. They don't know what to do with the trauma because this is actually not normal. These are not normal circumstances that we're living under. And we're trying to make sense out of it and go on each and every day as if, I got it together, I'm okay. Let me tell you something, I'm not okay. That's why I'm running for office. I'm actually not okay. Your pain is my pain. On May 21st, I need you guys with me. I've been fundraising. Since December 1st. I came off of the re-election of Governor Wolf and Senator Casey on November 30th. I had the campaign trail on December 1st. And the campaign finance reports had to be turned in December 31st at the end of the year. Do you want to hear something funny? 4 years ago, I was on the campaign and I helped to get a city councilwoman elected. She has the most. She has about 276,000, and I had the least. But things picked up really, really quickly, right? Money started coming in, and I could bring Taylor on back there. Taylor did the website, and it is phenomenal. You get a chance to go to melissaforphilly.com. She did an excellent job. I was able to get with a great team out of Washington, D.C. to do the design. These are people who believe in me and said, Melissa, I want to help you. If I have to do an in-kind donation, I will help you. So whether I have $20, $2,000, $200,000, this train is not going to stop. Because I'm going to roll into the train station on May 21st. And I'm going to be a force to be reckoned with, right? I'm going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm a little tired because I do a lot of work. I wear a lot of hats. But I don't believe that I would be here if I didn't believe that I could win and I could govern and serve you guys with the most honor, with the most integrity, and with the most respect. And I clearly understand that one person cannot do it all. It takes a team. I'm willing to work with the newly elected city councilmen and city councilwomen to make sure that Philadelphia moves in the right direction for the good. We can be the most progressive city in the nation. We can be the model city to the rest of the nation. We can be all of those things. Our city is beautiful. Our neighborhoods are special, right? We can be, but we need each other. We actually need each other. The whole separate men against women, gay against straight, black against white, old against young, educated against uneducated. It works because it keeps us separate. It keeps us blaming people. And meanwhile, people who have common interests like wealth, they don't care. They don't care. They know they have one thing in common, and they don't have that in common with us. They want to maintain their wealth. And they play by a book that works, and they just repeat it over and over and over again, and they tweak it, but it works, and it keeps us in poverty. It keeps us in deep poverty. Our city has 26% poverty. That is 400,000 people. Of those 400,000 people, 180,000 are children. Those are numbers, but they're also faces and names, right? It has to change. So I ask you guys, I need your help. You being here means everything, but now we got to step it up because today was the first day of what? Petitions. If I'm not on the ballot, none of this matters. None of this matters. In order to win for city council, you need 1,000 valid signatures from registered Democrats in Philadelphia County. In order for me to get where I need to get, I need 5,000 because they're most definitely going to take me to court and try to bump me off the ballot. So I'm going to come out with 5,000 votes. Try me. I'm getting on that ballot. I'm getting on the ballot, and I'm cruising through to election day. You got to make up your mind. I don't care how challenging it looks. You got to make up your mind, determine what you're going to do, create a plan, get people around you, and move towards it. So I need each and every one of you. It's only for a short period of time. Today is February 19th. May 21st will be right here. In order to win this election, I need people talking to more people. I'm not going to get there by counting on support from electeds. I'm not going to get there by counting on support from people that, oversee the wards. That's not going to happen. Because we live in a corrupt city that nobody wants to talk about. If you talk about it, then you're shunned. You're shut out. But we need to talk about what's going on in this city. Ward leaders are paid, and you guys know it. It is not okay. It is not legal, and it is not okay to give a ward leader money to say, help me win. The people have a vote. One man, one vote. You cannot silence a city. Let people decide who they want to represent them. This is a job interview. It is a long job interview, and it should involve the candidate and the people, not the candidate and how much you can pay people. This shouldn't be pay to play. You guys should be outraged to know that your voices are really silenced on election day. You have a handful of people that take a whole lot of money and they determine outcomes. And that's why this city remains the same, because you win elections the same way. I'm doing it different. I'm going with the people. I'm not going that route because it's immoral. It's unethical. It's illegal. It's not good. So I need each and every one of you. If you have donated to the campaign, I thank you. If you have not, please go to melissaforphilly.com or see Taylor. Taylor has her laptop up. Any amount, because you guys know it all adds up. Every single bit of it. So if you have not signed off on a petition, please sign on the petition, because I need you guys. If you guys can circulate a petition, each paper has 30 lines for a signature. Take a petition with you, talk to Taylor. Someone from our team will pick it up and we'll make sure that it's notarized, but we need you. We need you so bad to get on the ballot. So you guys, thank you so very much for coming and supporting me. You see my literature there. You guys know what my priorities are for the city. Mass incarceration is one. We have to make sure that our men and women coming back into Philadelphia can acclimate back into society. We cannot drop men and women off on the street and say, make your way. That's why recidivism rate is so high. We need to make sure that men and women have birth certificates, have social security cards, have housing plans. We need to make sure that we set them up for success, not continued failure. So that's another thing that's near and dear to me. Restorative justice. We live in a society and everything is punitive. Everything is punitive. We have to change the way that we think, guys. People have asked me time and time again, Melissa, whose seat are you running for? And I say to them, I'm not running for anyone's seat. The seat belongs to you. Yes. Every 4 years, we have to run and ask, can I serve you? If you do a good enough job, the people say, yes, you have my permission to serve. If you don't, the people say, no, you will be replaced. The seats belong to the people. The seats don't belong to anybody. So my answer is, I'm not running against anyone. I'm running for the people of Philadelphia. And I will always serve the people of Philadelphia. Thank you guys for being here, and I hope that you come on board and volunteer and help me get on the ballot and help me win this election on May 21st. Thank you guys.